Today I'll be talking about assisted selling and queue busting, and I think that's probably a topic that a lot of people would like to talk about, probably at the forefront of your minds. So, is this the beginning of the end of the fixed traditional till point? If you were lucky enough to go to the NRF in New York just after Christmas, or even the RBTE at Earl's Court, walking around those stands there, you may have thought it would be the end. I think the number of fixed traditional till points on display were greatly outnumbered by the sleek tablets and mobile devices that are being used or promoted by partners at the moment. I think we're experiencing a fundamental shift in the retail industry at the moment, and mainly it's because of Apple. So I'm sure you've all experienced the Apple customer experience. They've got their handheld payment terminals and offer a very high level of customer service. So I think this is probably the future. I know a lot of fashion retailers and high-value good retailers are looking into tablet solutions and mobile solutions. One other area where mobility comes into play is in queue busting. Now, I'm sure everybody hates queue busting. Hates queues, and love queue busting. Everybody hates queues. Personally, if I walk into a store and there's a queue, don't even bother looking around the store first. And as retailers, that is a lost sale. It's lost profit, lost revenue. That's the last thing you want. So we've got a couple of solutions that I'd like to talk to you today about, which bring mobility in store and hopefully address the assisted selling and the queue busting issues that retailers are facing now. So the first product I'm going to talk about is called mobile EVT. So I'm sure you're all familiar with EasyV Terminal, which is our standard application. What we've done is we've taken that and we've put it on iOS and Android. So the way that works is it communicates over Bluetooth to a chip and pin device like this, and then uses the 3G or Wi-Fi connection to communicate externally with a bank. So at the moment, our solution compromises of two applications. We've got mobile EVT, which does all the payments bit, and then you have EasyV Mobile, which is our own very basic point of sale application. So the reason that we have two apps is obviously so that POS providers or merchants themselves could create their own front-end application and integrate that into mobile EVT in order to bring payments on mobile devices like this. So obviously in doing that you get greater control of the look and feel of the application. You can integrate it into back office solutions, stock management, etc. So here we've got a few devices that we're working with at the moment. Chandra touched on the first one I'll talk about in his last presentation. So in the top left-hand side, we've got the Myura shuttle. Now, this is a point-to-point encryption device. As he pointed out, it has the SRED module in there, and it is, in fact, a Bluetooth PED. There are a few other devices that we're working with. So the left and the middle, that is called the Datex P-Pad. And that is very similar to the devices that you'll see in the Apple Store. So it's what we refer to as a sledge that holds an iPod Touch inside it. You then flip it over and you've got the numbers to enter your PIN in, etc. So there are a few other devices that we're working with, and I'll cover those off in a little bit more detail later, but probably the main device to think about for the oncoming few months would be the Myura shuttle. So here we have the architecture diagram. As you'll see, it's very much the classic YESpay architecture. So in the purple box, you've got the tablet or mobile device, which would be integrated into a POS application. You then obviously have communication with the PED and MBOSS, our gateway, and then finally through the card acquirer. So just to walk you through a transaction quickly, the ePOS would send a request into mobile EVT, which would then take over the tablet or mobile device. It would take over the PED and then guide the user and the customer through the transaction. So you'll notice I've got green arrows below the line. That's symbolizing point-to-point encryption, which of course you get with the YESshuttle. And you'll notice that all of the card data that's processed is below this dotted line. So what that symbolizes is all of that is out of scope for you as retailers or partners. You don't touch any card data. Anything you might even see on the device or in the retailer environment is point-to-point encrypted. So quickly here onto development. I just want to introduce you, not in person unfortunately, to our development team. So we've got a big team based in our development office of 25 people, and they've been working very hard over the last 18 months to 2 years on bringing these solutions to the forefront of what we can offer. So I think from seeing a team of 25 people, you understand there's a lot of investment and a lot of work we've put into these solutions over the last few years. So onto certification roadmap. The YESshuttle, as I mentioned earlier, the accreditation with YESpay will be finished in June this year, so that's very close to being released. And then we've got the PPAD, which is the sledge device I mentioned earlier, and there are a couple of other devices that we've completed the integration to, and we'll then look at doing the accreditations with the various banks as and when opportunity arises. So that's the mobile solution where you would have a native application sitting on the tablet or the mobile device. The next solution I will talk to you about is, some people hate the word cloud, but it is a cloud payment solution. So what we've done with this is we've taken our traditional integration methods, be it a socket or a file interface, which I'm sure many of you have used in the past, and we've then added a new integration method which allows that to be used mobilely. Is that a word? No, it is now anyway. So the new methods are HTTP post or AJAX. I'm not sure if that means anything to anybody, but hopefully it does. So why have we done that, you may ask? The reason being that obviously dealing with a lot of ePOS providers, we've noticed that there's been a trend from having a native ePOS application to putting that in the cloud and having web-hosted POS apps. So obviously doing that makes it easier for the integration from a web app into the payment element. The benefits of web POS applications, a few there. It's easier to manage remotely, easier to upgrade, and one which I think is probably most relevant for us is mobility. So the reason it's so mobile is the elements of hardware that you have in this solution are very flexible. So the three things that you need really to run iEasyV is a host. So that could be a back office PC, it could be a remote server, Raspberry Pi, or even a big clunky traditional till point if you wanted. You need a display, so that would be anything with a browser. So it could be a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, anything with a browser. So again, flexibility there. And then the final thing being a PED. So that could be any IP PED. So you've got the 680, which is a Wi-Fi device. You've got the VX820 or the IPP350. So again, flexibility there. Now, these three elements are all connected to each other over the local area network, as you will see here. So this is how the integration really works. Let me just find where I got to. So again, this is the integration with a web or desktop POS application. So that method of integration can be done locally as well as remotely. So you'd use AJAX, XML, HTTP, or HTTPS post to communicate into the IEZV web server. Now, what that does is it translates the, if you like, the internet request into a local socket request into the standard EasyV terminal, which we've got 23,000 installations of. Then go off and communicate with the PED as standard. So hopefully that explains the architecture a little bit more for you. So again, another architecture picture. You'll see that the purple hexagons, are they? They symbolize the retail environment. So you would have a back office server running the POS application. You would have an AJAX client browser, which would be your tablet, and then something which is hosting IEZV. So you could have the same device or hardware hosting both the POS application and IEZV, or you could mix it up depending on how you want to do that, and then obviously the PED attached. So similar architecture, going outwards over an internet connection to the bank for authorization. So I think the main thing I should point out here is all the purple stuff is on a local area connection. Now a slight variation of that diagram. This is, I think, very similar to what we did with Fuji. So rather than having IEZV in the retail environment, you can indeed host that on our MBOSS gateway. You may want to do this in the retail environment if you had a very reliable connection going externally. However, for kiosks it's perfect because, as pointed out earlier, you can't process offline transactions or have referrals and so on. Again, this helps with PCI element because using an IP-based PED that uses SSL encryption before it speaks to EasyV terminal. So you're actually encrypted from the moment the card is read all the way through to our PCI secure environment, which is MBOSS. So onto some other benefits of IEZV. I'll just pick out a few. I don't want to go through all of them. But obviously you've got all the standard benefits of EasyV Terminal, so having integrated payments, opportunity for value-added services all integrated into an omni-channel solution. Another nice feature is that you could have your POS application manually configure each instance over the internet. The one I think is the most important is hardware independence and flexibility. So you have no reliance on sticking with Apple iPads. You could switch to an Android tablet, or indeed anyone else that comes along that can offer it cheaper for you. So you've got real flexibility there. Also, hardware cost savings, I think, are important. If you look at a big till point, I'm not too familiar with how much they cost, but having a remote back office PC, a tablet, and a £200 pin pad is going to be a lot cheaper, I think. Easier terminal management, removal of EVT from the retail environment if you want to go down the hosted version. Another really nice thing is you could have multiple browsers linking into one instance of EasyV Terminal. So the way it works is you would have, I don't know, my phone and my tablet linked in onto the same network. Now, either one of those can initiate a transaction with that one pin pad. They can't do it at the same time, obviously, because you can only process one transaction at a time, but there's potential for cost savings there if you wanted to go down that route. And the final one may not be relevant for everybody, but we also have the ability to send intra-status messages back to the POS application. So rather than having the pop-up come and take over the terminal, you can control that message yourself. So those intra-status messages would just be insert card, enter PIN, etc. Okay, to the mic. Okay, is that better? Trying to hide away in the corner. So that's pretty much everything. I hope that's been clear to you and haven't baffled you with too much technology. But just to summarise, really, there are a couple of architectural options you can take on to bring, excuse me, mobile or tablet selling in store. Obviously, everything we do is PCI DSS certified, multiple integration methods, cost savings on having multiple POS linked into one PET, point-to-point encryption, and flexibility in the environment. So whether you're a retailer in a fixed store or you work in hospitality or kiosks, I think all of these are very relevant to you. So that's everything. Thank you for your time.